I know I hear him sleeping in the afternoon, and I hear him sleeping at night, but he always tells me I go to bed way too early because if I would stay up later, I would have a good night's sleep. And he doesn't always sleep well at night, but I'm sure it's because he had a 2-hour nap before he went to bed. Other things that make him happy, he really likes his home. He likes being home. He loves his grandkids, he loves his kids. I think he's made a special effort in the second part of his life to be a good dad. I know he wants to be a good grandpa because they're just, that's the most important thing right now for us. What else can I tell you about my life? I have always had,
Getting back to painting.
getting back to painting, okay.
Do you like watching paint dry?
Watching it dry? Well, only from the effect that then I can hurry up and get back in there maybe and paint some more.
Oh.
But I guess I love everything about painting. I don't really like the start. The start is hard. And the very end finish is hard because, you want to keep on, make, go back and make that whole thing a little better. And I was drawing this sketch of Lauren the other day that I actually did submit, and I bet I went back and worked on her little finger about 10 times. So whenever you look at that sketch, look at the little finger.
How long does it take to paint a picture on average?
Everybody always asks that, and sometimes it just flows. Other times you can work on something.
Can you get one done in a day?
Sometimes. This beginning, I did an hour and a half. Now this is not a very big canvas. So if I'm in a workshop and we're really focused, I can probably paint, in a week, probably I would say 3 paintings. Good size. The benefit of being in a workshop is, somebody in the room can even come up behind you and say, well, that's really good, and then you've done a good job in that part, but they can also say, that's off, and you need to fix this part of your painting. You may not even know that maybe it's getting top heavy, whatever. So, let's see.
So what do you want to do with all these paintings? Because you got a lot of them just sitting here. Just kind of stacked together.
As I say on TV, that's a good question. I guess the next venture probably will be...
Have you scanned?
There's a gallery up here in Cave Creek that I might try be in. Home shows has still been the best venue. And I brought all my prints that I've made, and I'm going to sell them on the internet now that I'm into a less busier life.
So do you have every painting scanned? Do you scan your paintings after you do them?
Mm-hmm.
And then you have a library of paintings on your computer?
Uh-huh. So I have at least done that much, because I've made a lot of cards.
How many paintings?
Do I currently have?
I thought you said there were like 250 or something.
Oh, I've probably gotten to that number that I've painted. I probably have 75 in this house. Maybe that's too much. 60? So do you want to know anything about...
This is your time. You can talk about whatever you want.
Oh. Well...
You can talk about your husband a little bit.
Talk about my husband.
It's been 50 years.
50 years. Well, a couple years ago, you said, why don't we think of one good thing in your life every year? And not any hard things, just the good things. So, I should have made a list. But
Actually, if you could make a list, you know,
that would be a good thing to leave your
it
kids
doesn't
with.
necessarily have to be every. It would be nice if it was every year, because then you could just put it all together and it could be flashed up, like as a just kind of ribbon.
Well, one thing I've done is I've tried to accumulate well, I don't have an album yet, but I do have accumulated almost all the pictures, all our Christmas pictures. And so after 50 years, that really kind of tells a story. As you see everybody grow up, and when you look at those, you think, oh, that's the year that happened, or that's the year Tricia had braces, or the year Taryn had a mullet, or the year
He had a mullet for a while.
he had a mullet for a while. I mean the years when we took when you guys were young, and you'd be dressed up in those little suits. I mean, how cute is that? But little kids in a hat. And so also going along with that, though, you also remember sometimes by what you were wearing. Why did I like that?
A lot of ugly clothes.
A lot of ugly clothes. And I must not have been spending a lot of time on my hair, because when I was younger, I always wore my hair, pulled back, and at least it always looked done. Then I got into those years where I was doing a perm, and I don't know if I took a good picture for 10 years. Anyway, that was the best advice, and I think my daughter gave me that, was to not perm my hair anymore. Yeah, there were a lot of funny clothes. And I think maybe, aside from me, seeing your dad in those leisure suits.
I mean, the 70s and 80s were just notoriously bad eras for clothes.
Okay. But anyway, and along with that, I've also, I would usually write a Christmas letter. And that's kind of, interesting. Tell us what you guys were doing in sports. Those years went really fast. But, it kind of tells what everybody was doing, and then you put it with a picture. And so if you're playing football, starting football, that's a fun thing to talk about. Starting baseball, all those hours on the baseball field. Thank heavens we lived across from the baseball park. That was Tricia with her dancing. And Taryn again played football and baseball. So that's kind of what we wrote about in those letters. And then we talk about, or I'd write about what your dad was.
Do you have all those letters?
I've got quite a few of them. I do. And so, any trips that we took, I remember the trip to DC, that was pretty awesome. I remember we took you boys to Montana and you saw a rodeo. That was really cool. You got cowboy boots. You guys loved your cowboy boots. So yeah, that's kind of how I tell stories. So, first years were they were meager. And, but you know, your dad was always a hard-working guy, and I think I was always kind of a worker bee. We're probably too intense, and so we have intense kids. But I think
Your kids are probably more intense than.
we are. Or you're more intense than me, that's for sure. I don't know why that is. I think it's because your dad's so intense. I don't know. But yeah, I think did he tell you the story of how we first met?
No, we're gonna do that in a minute.
Oh, we're gonna do that in a minute, okay. I think your dad loves being around people more even than I do. I like people, but I am sort of introverted too. I really like my alone time. I think like everybody knows, I could hardly ever go outside. I like looking outside, but I could sit and read by the fire and be pretty happy. Doesn't take, I don't have to be very entertained to be happy, although I like to do things. I guess
You like to travel a lot more than he does.
I do like to travel a lot. And I found that if we were on a cruise or something where somebody was handling all the details, and your dad really enjoyed it too, if he